All right, the man of the hour again, hosting the MMA awards. Chael.
Starring in the World MMA Awards. Somebody else said host as well. The star of the MMA Awards.
Star of the MMA awards, and also breaking news journalist. You're taking our jobs. I saw that post you had yesterday. I guess before we get to that, though, how does it feel to be here and to be able to be the star of the show again?
I really appreciate that. I actually got fed that by Jesse on Fire. He tweeted it first, and then I made a video. So I got credit, but it actually belongs to him if we're doing that right. But yeah, that was fun, man. That was fun. I wish that fight was happening. We're talking about Ian, Garry, and Luke. I was looking forward to that contest. And I thought that Garry had a lot of pressure on him. And how is he going to deal? He's always had the crowd eating out of his hand. I was in Boston, for example. I mean, that crowd went crazy for him and O'Malley, but they went crazy. And he was going to have the opposite experience. And, how's he going to do? Can he handle the booze? Not very many people want to be heels because they can't handle the booze. And I was just curious. It was going to be a very rare test. He was put in an interesting position. I'm disappointed we're not going to see the fight.
Obviously a tough position with pneumonia and everything that's going on with him. But I guess what advice would you give him? I mean, talk about a guy that knows how to maybe control the crowds a little bit. What would you tell Ian Garry if you were advising him?
Well, I just think there was a few ways to handle that. I think Ian Garry's gotten very good advice. He's clearly had great coaches, just by example. I mean, he's a handsome guy. He's well-spoken. He gets the game. His skills are top shelf. His PR sucks. Not that it's bad. It sucks. It's terrible. And, I mean, I only share that because there's only one thing you can't do, which is nothing, which is what he did do. He could have showed up to the press conference, sat the book, he could have sat it upright in an A-frame, and walked out. And just the book just sits in his spot for the next 40 minutes. He could have gone to the press conference, put a cigar in the way I would have handled it, put his feet up and read the book at the press conference and ignored the questions completely. He could have done anything except nothing. And he went with nothing.
Just a couple other quick questions. Talking about hosting tonight, you also have been doing a lot of work with Bellator. You've done some stuff with PFL, and now they are one. So I wanted to get your thoughts on the merger. Is it good for the sport, bad for the sport? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I never fully understand that. I was here about the sport. I've never really understood that. But is it good for them as a company and a business? I will tell you, Scott Coker was one of the great leaders. And, now you got Peter Murray and Don Davis, and they're coming in with a lot of energy, a fresh set of eyes, some fresh legs under them. And they appear to have a plan. They appear to have a real vision. So I'm interested. I'm a supporter. I'm going to see where it goes. I think they've got some great talent. But I think all the organizations have great talent. I don't know if I've ever seen a cage fighter that I thought was bad, in all fairness. So it's an exciting thing. Is it good for the sport? I don't know what that means.
Will you be involved going forward? Do you know anything about that? Has that detail been hashed out at all?
No, I haven't. I had a call the other day that they are going to continue the Bellator brand. Now, you might have known that. Somehow I missed it. In all of this announcements, which I stayed up on, I didn't understand that they were going to continue with the Bellator brand. So I did have a conversation about continuing to commentate and participate there, but nothing official.
UFC 300's coming up. What do you think? I know you're a guy that keeps up with the matchups and everything. Dana's been hyping the super fight. If you were to be in his position, what kind of fight would you think would be worthy of headlining UFC 300?
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting proposition. To have Conor McGregor back and not use him when he's your biggest star would be hard to bet on. However, I do think we will have a title fight in the main event, and Conor McGregor didn't have a title. So now if you put Conor on the card, you're putting your biggest star not in a headliner role. You just demoted your top guy. So I think that eliminates Conor. I believe that the big rush on getting DDP and Strickland together is because either Adesanya is coming back. I don't buy I'm out until 2027. And I do think Adesanya, particularly against Duplessis, but Adesanya in a rematch with Sean as well would be very main event worthy. And, not for nothing, another big draw that the marketing department dropped the ball on, but is Chimaev. We've had three media darlings to Chimaev's level. Chimaev himself, Ronda Rousey, and Conor McGregor. And so I got to say, I mean, the marketing team, they dropped that. That was the hottest name out there, and they weren't able to keep that going. But I do think that you could bring that back, and I do think he's main event worthy.
Last one from me. You kind of talked about how Ian Garry isn't doing the right things in terms of the fight promotion game. Who do you think does the best job? Who is Chael Sonnen's? Who's at the top of your list in terms of playing the crowd properly?
Sure. Well, I mean, what Sean Strickland's doing is maybe been the surprise. He was on the cusp of being canceled. and now he's on the cusp of being a culture warrior. It's a very interesting thing. I won't say that he's the guy, but I will say he has been the surprise how far he's come. I think that Adesanya is the one that does everything right, and I think that Sean O'Malley is on that same level. They understand that the only thing you can monetize with an athlete is the performance, but there's another 362 days in the year, and those guys work hard. They don't leave the ring without setting up what's next. The second one fight ends, the marketing for the next begins, and not very many people understand that. O'Malley and Adesanya stand above the crowd.
On the flip side, who does the worst job?
Yeah, who does the worst? I think we've had some people that have really missed it. I mean, they tried to give Corey Sandhagen a title fight. They tried to make the fight, and he turned it down because he didn't know they were trying to make the fight. And everyone in the media knew they're trying to make the fight. He didn't follow his own career. He didn't follow his own division. I found that to be a surprise. That was a long time ago. Sandhagen's a stud. I think he can handle me giving him a hard time. But that was the biggest miss I've personally ever seen.
What about the way that PFL kind of merged with Bellator? You mentioned like you didn't realize that they were going to keep it up. There's so many people that don't realize what's going on. Do you feel like maybe they should have waited till they knew what was going on to announce it, or do you feel like they made the right decision? They got excited, and it is what it is.
Well, it's very hard to keep a secret. I mean, you can get the word around three ways. You can telephone, telegraph, or tell a fighter, because none of them can keep their mouth shut. So as soon as that ink is dry, if you want to be the one to announce it, you've got to get out there and announce it quickly. I just think it's a very exciting thing. Keeping the Bellator brand going with the Bellator fighters, with the same idea in the same venues that Bellator played, seems to represent that Bellator had a very effective and profitable business model. And then we're told, there's rumors that it's a $300 million deal. Those rumors get changed to it's a $500 million deal. That gets corrected to say there was no money whatsoever. I didn't understand why we did that correction. It seemed like if you had a $500 million purchase or you had the perception of it that you won, I don't know why we did that correction. But if we are going to keep it and it's going to be business as usual, it would just seem that there was something very positive there that Scott Coker built, and I hope that he's proud of that.
And last one for me. You already said what you believe that Garry should have done and what he actually did do, but how do you think he would have done if he had gone to the press conference? How good is he on the fly?
This really bothered him. This really seemed to rattle him, and I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that I was very curious how he was going to handle this. And there was a number of things that he could do. He could have even got in front of it. I mean, this came out 10 or 12 days ago. He could have started right then. By the time the press conference rolls around, it's old news. Nobody's going to ask questions if they've already been asked. And I only bring that to you because I was observing it. I was just curious. How is he going to navigate these waters? So, I mean, look, it could have been over 2 weeks ago. Worst case scenario, it's over as we speak. The press conference is going on right now, but that's not what happened. Now, 3 months from now, he's still going to be living what he could have put to rest today.
One thing for me, Chael, you did, I'll circle back. You said for UFC 300, you think it's going to be a title fight, but then you also said it would be foolish if they didn't put their biggest star, Conor McGregor. So I'll submit to you, Conor McGregor versus Justin Gaethje for the BMF title.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, I'll just tell you this as far as predictions go. If Conor McGregor comes back, he's coming back against Michael Chandler. There is nothing within the culture of the UFC that is bigger than do say. You do what you say you're going to do. That comes in front of showing up early and working late. That comes in front of having profits exceed your expenditures. If you don't follow through on your word, you're not going to be, and this word came straight from the boss. So that isn't going to happen. It is going to be Chandler and McGregor. I just don't know when.
You think it would be Chandler and McGregor whether McGregor wants that fight or not?
Yes. Yes, I don't think that he wants the fight. He's had the chance to do a fight for a meaningful amount of time. I don't know that it's Chandler specifically that's pushing him back, but it's certainly not motivating him. But I do believe that Conor's a true competitor, and I do believe that whether it was a title fight or a brand new guy, I think that Conor would go out and do it. I think that's one thing that Conor doesn't get credit for, is that he is hungry and he is truly a competitor at heart.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, everyone.